Okay, we are live with the Calexit Congress. So 1 second, let me off. Hide. Okay, we are here with the Calexit Congress. We are live. Thank you all for joining. We can have up to 10 people in the StreamYard. Almost there now. We've alerted about 40 people about the show. If you're unable to join us at StreamYard, we're also showing this on multiple channels, which we'll get to in a second. This is the Calexit Congress, sponsored by YesCalifornia.org. You can also go and find us at the Calexit Congress right there. Welcome, TJ. And again, this is by Yes California or the Calexit Congress, and there's the website. This is the Calexit Congress show for March 27th, and let's get started. Well, I want to first by thanking everybody for putting up with me. I figured out that technology problem, why I wasn't able to hear you. Turns out I hit the mute button on my laptop keyboard, but not the control keys for StreamYard, and that's why I wasn't able to figure it out. So, live and learn. We're getting there. Now I can hear you all perfectly. Okay, let's get right into the show. Now, while I'm not a techie, I'm pretty good at politics and organization. And I have a show for you. We have a lot going on. First, a little housekeeping. So, Congress members, you can type in chat, and I can copy your comment and post it to the video. So, if you want to get involved in the conversation, you have two options as a Congress member here. You can speak directly on video. You want a little bit more anonymity, or some of you like crafting a wordy statement, post it in chat. I'm going to be streaming your chat comments directly into the video. Everybody will see them. And just want to make sure I'm getting everybody in. Now, if you are one of the people who are watching this on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Steemit, one of the 100,000 subscribers who this is going to be streamed to live, you can type in the comments section on your platform, Twitter, Facebook, Steemit, or any of the YouTube channels where this is being streamed. Your comments get fed directly here into StreamYard, and I can post them. So if you want to come and speak, ask to come to Congress in the comments. I can bring you into the studio. If you're here in Congress, you can speak directly, or you can type in the private chat, and I'll post some comments up. Or if you're on YouTube or Twitter, Facebook, Steemit, any of the groups that we're streaming to 100,000 people live today, you can type in the comments, and we will also post that. So again, Congress members, type in chat. We will post your comments. Viewers, here you go. Let me take a couple comments real quick. So right there, hey, Amir Mahdi 313 from YouTube, already streaming in. I don't know who that is, but it's a public member. He's already streaming in. Let's take a look at some of the private chats. Maybe with a mic, type on headset says contrast. Okay. Thanks, Nick, for telling me about the typo. I will get to that in a second, and I appreciate it. In my case, it's better now. So it looks like all the audio is working. Again, Congress members, type in there, and we will get to your comments. Why are we here today? Well, today is the Calexit Congress. That's what Nick was talking about. Let me show you how awesome StreamYard is. So Nick just texted me, hey, bro, you got a typo. Fixed. Calexit Congress, show for March 27th. That's what we're talking about. You can see a Calexit Congress right there, or you can go to YesCalifornia.org to find it more. But why are we here? Well, first, Yes California is a proud sponsor of Return California and the idea of returning land to the indigenous. We want to recognize that we're sitting on the traditional land of the Tongva, and this is called Tovangar. Additionally, we support people like Julino Costa and the Land Back Initiative. The Calexit Congress. We speak for 1/3 of California. Now, while that may sound incredible, the fact is that in January, February 2017, two different surveys by Reuters, Ipsos, and Stanford University showed 1/3 of Californians were for full-blown secession, and 47.5 were willing to have a discussion about it. We also want to say thank you to everybody who agreed to be a Calexit Congress member and to distribute these Calexit Congress live sessions, streaming live on StreamYard, to over a collective 100,000 people who are subscribers. Yes, California on Facebook with 38,831 people. Governor Wildstar's YouTube channel with 29,800. YesCAL Twitter with 19,700 people. Adam Kokesh on Steemit with 14,482. YesCAL YouTube on 687. And Stark Truth TV with 211. Small members, big members, we want to work with you. And what we've done is we've asked Calexit Congress members if they would be allowing us to stream just this Sunday show to their channels once a week. And in return, they get to speak on popular issues that work both for their viewership and for Californians. So it's a symbiotic relationship. Consider joining the Yes California Network. We also have another person I can't mention, but we are online to get 120,000 people that we will be streaming to. And the goal is to get up to 200,000. I think we can achieve it in about 3 weeks. This is the Calexit Congress, where you set the agenda for the entire movement. Members here at the Calexit Congress are all normal Californians from a wide variety of backgrounds, just like yourself. We love the fact that California is super diverse. We have many different people who think many different ways, come from many different ethnicities, religions, views, backgrounds, and we love it. This is the place. We're reflective of California, very diverse. And while this is mostly Californians, we have a couple of Americans here who love California, and we love them too. Most members are Californians like yourself, who think that after the instability on January 6th and the instability of the last 4 years, it's not unreasonable for Californians to have a conversation about what if California can't rely on the federal government? Say, for wildfires larger than we've ever seen in 100 years, or a global biological epidemic, and we don't get directions from the feds on how to handle it, or an economic collapse comes and we need a stimulus check and we don't get what we need. All three of those examples happened, and they were not all under Donald Trump. Multiple administrations, multiple times, we had figured out for ourselves, and we were left in the lurch. January 6th was pretty bad, and it scared a lot of people, and it showed a level of instability that I think a lot of people hadn't seen before. And what we're saying is it's okay to have this conversation amongst Californians about what if. You do not have to believe Calexit is the option, but you do have to believe that it's ridiculous to not be having this conversation now. We're 40 million people. We're the world's 5th largest economy. Nobody says that we can't survive on our own financially. The question is, should we? Okay. Let's have that conversation. And here's why. This week, GQ magazine in England posted this article. Okay, I'm going to share screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, we are sharing screen. Take a look at this. Yeah, I accepted cookies. Okay, so GQ magazine in the UK. The United States so reviles itself, it might actually break up. From Calexit to Cascadia. Can Joe Biden hold together a country increasingly divided? If you think Donald Trump was bad, guess what? It could get even worse. And the country's not necessarily coming together. What's interesting is that this article specifically talks about Yes California. There it is. Calexit, Californians, Trump, Brexit, and Yes California. A group fighting for independence like the Scottish National Party. Is more progressive and independent than, say, the American state of Alabama. So let's stop sharing. I think that's important because this is an allied country. This is not Russia. This is not China. This is not Iran. This is not North Korea. This is not Venezuela. This is an allied nation. 3 months after Biden was elected, writing in a popular magazine, GQ magazine is not small, saying, America's still polarized and can't come together? Is this country reliable? What? And then they specifically mentioned this organization, Yes California. So Yes California was in international news, did nothing to earn that, just happened because of our name recognition. And they're talking about a continued instability with Biden. That's what we're talking about here, folks. Let me check the comments real quick. We'll come right back. Going to public comments. Amir Mahdi. Hey, how's it going? Long live freedom, Carlos Footballer. How you doing? Yes to California, Amir. All right. All right. And let's go to private chat. Today is the 28th. Right. Got the date wrong. I will fix that. Let me just repeat something I'm saying. We are growing incredibly fast. So we just launched StreamYard 2 weeks ago. I just got 100,000 people to broadcast this week. So I apologize for the typos and thank you all for correcting it. I'd like to apologize for the Calexit Congress, to the Calexit Congress members. And I'd like to remind everybody, I understand little typos and we're going to fix it, but focus on the trajectory. We're getting big fast. We're getting professional fast. And I will straighten out all those errors as we get better. Okay, getting back to the agenda. So that was an article by UK Magazine talking about how America's so destabilized it may not work. They came out that this week. Additionally, here's another article that came out. And let me stream this real quick. Okay. Globalization or fragmentation, international trade data. This article came out from National Review. It's on Yahoo News this week. Basically, the entire concept is if California secedes from America, then international trade will grow. So that's 2 articles talking about California secession this week. We did nothing to earn those. They just happened. Allied nations were talking about an America that's still unstable, and this may be a possibility. Economists were actually advocating for California to secede and saying it would be good for global economic growth. So we have people saying, hey, it's a good thing for the world if California secedes in mainstream news. And we have allied nations in international news specifically mentioning Yes California and saying, you may have to do this because Biden may not be able to put America back together no matter how much he wants to. And that's why we're here. Consider joining the Calexit Congress. Please like and subscribe to this channel. That was the, we're going to cover the agenda real quick. So we're going to have 2 discussions today. The Calexit Congress discusses important issues across California and America, international and domestic, cultural and political and governmental. We make stances that fit for the California people, and then the Calexit Congress, through committees, works out resolutions. So you're able to speak for the Congress. You can join Congress, you can suggest ideas for issues, and you can get involved, and you can have us promote your statement. We've had people come to us and say, here's an important issue for me. And they were able to sell that through, and we were able to look at it and say, that is an important issue for all Californians. And then we promoted that in that resolution. So you can come and do that. So the first 2 issues we will be looking at is the federal stimulus. Was it enough for California or just for Americans? The second issue we will lightly touch on is the Biden policy of Latino children in ages, along with like Trump. We will also talk about publicity projects. The Calexit Congress is here to talk about important issues and issue resolutions, allocate funds, but we also are here to promote the idea that it's okay to have a conversation about Calexit. Yes, California reached a deal with Liberty Block to jointly publish a book on Amazon on how to terrify liberals into supporting secession. And I personally was able to tour the Calexit Secession Museum, opened in downtown LA this week, and we'll talk about that too. So let's get right into it. The first one is the resolution on this issue, what we'll call the first segment. So this information came from Jason Wright. And Jason, if you're there, love to have you speak on it. The Bay Area Council, which is one of the top economic advisor groups here in California, talked about the stimulus check coming out from the federal government. Sorry, if you could mute yourself. I have to mute Mike. Okay, there we go. Bay Area Council talked on this week about the stimulus check coming out from Joe Biden and said it was not enough for Californians. Wouldn't go that far, given the region's high housing costs. So we're not alone. Now, Jason and I were looking at this. Jason really piloted this idea, but he points out that the stimulus check is really good for about 46 states. You typically want to look at a rent for a 2-bedroom apartment for 1 month. And for 46 states in America, that stimulus check does that. It provides for 1 to 2 months rent. This data came from rent data by state, and we'll show you the map in a minute. What that also means is that for 4 states, the stimulus won't even pay for 1 month's rent for a 2-bedroom apartment, which is the standard that they're looking at. And those states are California, Hawaii, Massachusetts, and New Jersey. This particularly gets worse because California was recognized for having a homeless crisis. I mean, here you go. Here's U.S. News talking about the homeless situation is so bad in California, it affects all of America. So for the last 2 years, we've heard about homelessness and high housing prices here in California being worst anywhere in the country. There you go, recognizes housing affordability crisis. Here's the New York Times saying the housing affordability in California is so out of whack, it's skewing all of America. Now the question is, if you knew that we had a housing crisis and a housing affordability crisis, why did you give out stimulus checks that won't even cover 1 month's rent for most Californians? They work for 46 states, and they almost do nothing for us. Is that fair to Californians when we're facing one of the worst recessions we've ever faced? A couple other factoids. Clinton and Obama also didn't give California stimuluses when we needed. So I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but in 1993, there was a recession. We went to the federal government and asked for a stimulus, and we were denied by Bill Clinton. Then California went into a horrible recession. Obama did exactly the same thing. There was a recession. We asked for a little bit of money to balance our budget. He said no. So this is the third Democrat president who has not given us the money that we needed in a crisis. A lot of people said the stimulus check is fair. And when you look at the readings with the stimulus check, what they're talking about is that California got its fair percentage based upon a percentage of the population of America. So they took the total amount of Americans and split them up by bodies and said, okay, well, you get this much based upon people. And they go, that's fair. In fact, you had Tony Atkins, one of the top-ranking California politicians, saying, this is fair. It's not fair. It doesn't meet our housing needs for 1 month when America says we have the worst homeless crisis and worst housing pricing crisis ever, and we've been a donor state forever. So I'm going to turn it over to the group. Any comments from Congress about how you feel about the stimulus check? Was it enough? Was it not enough? Jason, if you'd like to jump in, I'd love to call on you. Let me check out private chat. Important to note, Jason says it's important to note that California has 10% of the population. Let me post that real quick. So this is from Jason. Important note, California has 10% of the population. He also points out that 1 second here. Let me get another comment. If you type in comments on the private chat, I can see them and I can post them like I'm doing now.
I'd like to say something, if I may.
Yeah. Nicholas Wildstar, please. Speak away, brother.
Thank you very much. Well, I am one of the many people in California that are not eligible for stimulus payments. And a lot of people are not keeping that in mind, that there are many people here in the state that are not receiving any sort of government assistance whatsoever. They're most likely living off their savings, like I am, or another contributor to their household. I thankfully have my wife as well, who is, and generates an income for our household. But for a two-person household, one payment for $600 is not going to go far. And especially in the state of California, like Marcus said, that could barely even cover the rent. And also keep in mind, California taxpayers, that this money will be coming out of your pocket. Although it's a payment right now being provided to us through stimulus payments, later on down the line, we will be taxed, since this is a tax revenue generated product, program. So government gets its money from taxpayers. It doesn't get it from, businesses, or actually they are now. That's what it seems more like an autocracy. But we want to make sure that if we are getting California in a strong economic um, standing, that we need to make sure that we're alleviating all costs. And right now, our money is being sold back to us at a higher interest by our own government. So we need to stand up against that, or else we're going to go even further into debt. That's it.
Nice. Any questions for Nicholas Wildstar, governor candidate? And Jason, would you like to jump in, brother? On audio. Don't have to do video if you don't want.
I mean, I don't really have any question for Nick, but I could share a little bit of my own personal story with being, below poverty level, and what this stimulus does and does not do.
Please.
It has not yet come to me, and when it does, it will not be able to get me a place to rent. Not only that, but I'm gonna end up spending it all back in buying food and rock stars and coffee and stuff. So ultimately, it's just gonna keep me from smacking down on the hard pavement at the bottom of the hole.
And you live in the Bay Area, is that correct?
Yeah. And so there's the federal government representatives, folks like Nancy Pelosi, spending, what was that, $46,000 or some insane amount on some like Italian gelato or something. I mean, it just smacked me right in the face as I'm hitting some of my worst time and looking at, the road ahead is going to get even more rough. And, my elected official is out there just spending insane amounts of money that I don't see in 1 year on freaking ice cream.
So on the screen right now, to back up what Jason's talking about, you can see a map of nationwide rent data. What I want everybody to notice is that most of America's green, okay, affordable, 44, 46 states. There's Massachusetts. Here's the New York area. You can see this is a tiny area of the country. There's the Washington, D.C. area. Here's Miami. I think that's Boulder, Denver, Colorado area, Seattle. So you look at these little cluster here, Massachusetts, New York, Washington, D.C., Miami. And then look at these little clusters, right? They're about the size of that arrow or the hand. I can almost cover the whole thing with the hand. See? And now let's look at California. My God, it's almost all of the Seattle, Massachusetts, New York, Miami, Washington, D.C. areas combined in landmass. I mean, look at how big this is, all this red stuff. That's where a majority of the population lives. And as I'm showing you right now, that stimulus check is going to do nothing for people. But it's going to help everybody here in green. But if you're in red, it ain't going to do a whole lot. So how does that system work for Californians? We're a donor state. In fact, Tony Atkins, when she said this was a fair deal, reminded everybody that we're a donor state and then said, oh, yeah, and it's fair, this deal that we got. It's not fair. It's not going to help us. It won't alleviate poverty. It won't alleviate homelessness. It won't help out people for 1 month. So we basically get nothing, while 46 states get everything. Is that a good deal for Californians? I'm looking to Congress, your comments. Like, is this fundamentally fair how this worked out? Or is this not okay that California is part of a system, pays more than its fair share for decades, and when it comes time to bail us out, we can't even get something that helps us out for 1 month? I'm looking for Congress. You can type in comments. Is that fair?
Something I want to put in perspective. So $600, I've lived in multiple states. This is Christine talking, by the way. So 10 years ago, I lived in Savannah, Georgia. $600 did not even cover my rent then. And then going forward with how the economy's changed and everything and rent prices keep going up, I've never lived in a place where $600 covered my rent. I lived on the outskirts of Atlanta in Clarkston, Georgia. It's one of the lowest poverty areas in Atlanta. My rent was $900 for a small studio apartment, not even in the city, and I had holes in my walls. I had creepy crawlies and black mold. So even that map showing green, there are areas in the green that $600 is not going to cover anybody.
Yeah. Jason, Governor Wildstar, both of you are very informed on this. Christine, very informed on this. Wildstar or Jason, any more comments about the fairness of this to Californians, this whole system? Does this seem fair? Does this seem not okay?
Not at all. If anything, the people of California needs to recognize that this is unsustainable moving forward. It's unsustainable for our economy. It's unsustainable for our livelihood. It's unsustainable for our resources here in the state. We have to realize that California provides over half of the nation's fruit and vegetables world. So if we want to make sure that we are staying in a worldwide leader economically, we have to put ourselves in a position to where we're not living off the credit card. That's basically what our government is doing. They're living off of credit. And we're the ones paying that bill eventually. So this Calexit movement is all about getting rid of our government by establishing a new government, a government that's going to be more responsible, a government that's going to be more in tune with the people's needs and more responsive to them as well. So we're stepping up as speakers of those concerns for our fellow Californians to, again, correct the leadership of our state and get California back on the track to prosperity, opposed to right now where we're being pushed out of the state by an oligarchy that would like to keep control over the resources and make everything, make all of the jobs automated. So there will be a less working class, a lower labor force here in the state. Everything will be automated. and no people will be here. But the few people that are here will be living richly, and it will be off the blood, sweat, and tears of every Californian.
Jason, thoughts, feelings? Is this fair? You brought this to my attention, or is this inherently unfair? I want to hear from some more members of Congress, and then we'll circle back to Christine and John, T.J. Shelton, Rabbi Axelman. Is this fair to Californians?
Yeah, so I'll go real quick. I definitely see this as unfair, not just to most Californians, but also to a vast number of people outside of California. That's what I was kind of trying to hit at in my comment, was like, we are about 10% of the entire population of the United States, those of us who reside in California. So right there, 1/10 of the population. If anyone's going to readily discount 1/10 of their own population, that says a lot about them. That says that they're more along dictator and, for lack of a better example that hits it home well enough, a Hitler-esque model, right? Oh, we don't need these 1/10 of the people. We'll subjugate them, disenfranchise them, give them tiny little handouts so that they spend it back into the economy and we make the money, and they'll just have to, keep begging until ultimately, as, gubernatorial candidate Wildstar had said, everything's moving to automation. So ultimately, the poverty pimps, those who run agencies that see vast amounts of money coming in to, air quote, help people in need. Not all of them are bad, but a lot of them have accountability only really to themselves or to, certain few individuals. And, they make a lot of money. The people who run these things make a lot of money off of this problem continuing to exist.
Right.
And where do they get the money from? The federal government. So, it's the snake eating itself, right? The unsustainable cycle.
Right.
One hand washing the other, but they're actually rubbing each other down in like muriatic acid or something.
Okay, let's get a couple other comments. Would anybody else like to comment? Is this fair? Is this unfair to California? Okay, I'm going to move on to saying that it appears from a couple members of Congress and myself that this is unfair to Californians. I would like the Calexit Congress to propose a resolution stating that the stimulus is essentially unfair for Californians and doesn't do much for us, but does something for the rest of America. Is anyone opposed to that? One second, putting up a comment. Give me 1 second here. This is by John. So John just is a Calexit Congress member. He just posted this in the chat. I'm posting it. I concur with that. My experience with stimulus simply isn't that helpful to the people who truly need it. So that's about 4 or 5 members here. Is anyone opposed to us making a resolution by the Calexit Congress talking about how the stimulus is unfair to Californians? No one seems opposed. Then we'll go ahead and move forward with that. I'm going to assume that everybody here is okay with that. So that's at least about 7 votes. And this is now official business, and we'll do that. Okay, moving on to the next issue. Here we go. We've already talked about this here in the Calexit Congress about how locking up Latino kids in cages is not acceptable. I was very pleased that the Calexit Congress was able to identify this issue before people were picking up on it in the mainstream media, and we took a stance condemning it before the mainstream media did that. This is the second time that this Calexit Congress has taken a radical stance on a highly controversial thing and got it right before everybody else did. We said that the recall election was going to happen, and that Californians should start preparing themselves for it. We didn't necessarily say that it was a great idea. We said Californians had the right to do that, and we tried to host a debate that was at least moderate about that. And then after we did that, 2 weeks later, the debate, the recall qualified, and everybody said it's going to happen. So that was just California taking a radical stance, reading the news, and calling it right before the mainstream. That raises our credibility. Hey, guy. Hey, little man. Additionally, yes, California took a stance with Latino kids being locked up in cages, what they called containers under Biden, and that was very similar to Trump and not acceptable. We did that when no one else was doing it, and we called that right again. So this is the another time where the Calexit Congress looked at issues, took radical stances, and said it before anybody else. Just like the stimulus check, maybe that will also blow up. So we want to return to this topic just because there's a lot of pushback on saying that the way that Biden treats kids on the border is anything like the way Trump did it. So just going to point out a little factoid. So Obama and Biden created the policy of separating children from their parents and placing them into cages. That's well documented by the AP News. Then we fast forward to Trump had Latino kids in cages and they're dying and there's a lot of sickness, and that's wrong. And now we move to Joe Biden, kids in cages. Here's an article, children packed into Border Patrol tent for days on end. That's now. Let's take a look at what some of the things that article pointed out. The Biden administration denied the lawyers access to the tent facility. Some of the children in the tent had to wait more than 5 days to have access to a shower. So this is the Joe Biden administration. They've put a lot of children in tents without their parents because they came without their parents. Okay. Now they're concentrated in tents. Their coronavirus is going up and they're not allowed to shower or see a lawyer. This is America. This is the decent America. Okay. Here's another one. Although none of the children reported situations as severe as during the Trump era, Welch said the lawyers weren't able to lay eyes on any of it for ourselves. So I love this. This news article is going totally different than when Trump did it. But you can't allow any reporters in to document it, and you can't have any lawyers speak to their clients. And so you're just going to have to go off the word of the kids themselves who are terrified that everything's cool and it's nothing like what Trump did. I'm not even going to explain that. If you don't get that, whatever. Here's another article, Biden kids in cages. The Border Patrol defends itself, saying that's unfair to call that out to us. Hey, this is my favorite part. So Biden said that he's not Trump, he's not racist, it's a return to decency. So he hired a Latino secretary to handle this overcrowding situation. And my favorite part is that the Latino secretary overcrowds Latinos on the border and then denies journalists access to document those Latinos. So this is what I call a vendido. Don't expect that just because you hired a minority into a position that everything's going to be okay. Quote, this is a quote from Biden's Latino secretary. The pods were meant to house 260 individuals, but that one of them held more than 400 unaccompanied male minors. That's 2 times the capacity under the Biden administration. Let's take another one. In an apparent response to journalists being denied access to the facility, CBP said that in order to protect the health and safety because of COVID, they discouraged journalists from coming to the site. Now, do you see what happened there? So the Biden administration is housing kids in tents in high concentration. They're not letting them see their lawyers. They're not letting them have a shower, and they're not letting journalists see them. Now, when asked why journalists and lawyers can't go, the Biden administration is saying we're concerned about coronavirus. Secretary of Homeland Security Mayorkas blamed COVID-19 for restricting access to the media. Let's be clear here, he said. We're in the midst of a pandemic. So this is my question to you. What does it sound like when you get stuck in a tent in high concentration without your parents at 2 times the capacity, which they're admitting? You can't see your lawyers, you can't see a shower, and you can't have access to journalists. And they say, well, the reason we're blocking lawyers and journalists is because we're worried about coronavirus spreading. But we're not so worried about coronavirus spreading that we won't overcrowd these kids in tents and expose them to coronavirus. That makes sense to you? Well, of course, Joe Biden doesn't want to hear that. And here you go. He's got the AP News is now saying claims of kids in cages is hypocrisy. And totally, you get it wrong. Here's what they're pointing out. The focal point for critics of Trump's when his administration housed children was that they slept on mats on the floor with foil sheets. So this article saying it's wrong for you to compare Biden to Trump because Trump had kids sleeping on mats on the floor with foil sheets. This is what they said. This article right here by the AP News, which is a main source. Trump put kids on the floor on mats with foil sheets. Remember that. The Trump administration also came under fire in 2019 for allowing hundreds of children to languish and sleep on the floor, and they were unable to bathe. So they just admitted the kids were unable to bathe under Biden. And this article saying it's unfair to criticize Biden for Trump policies says that's because Trump banned kids from bathing. Well, Biden just did literally the same thing, and the AP News couldn't report on that. You can draw your own conclusions why they left out that fact. Here's another article. Oh, it's so wrong to say that Biden has kids in cages. That's not fair. Why? Well, literal quote from this reporter. While the conditions may be similar to 2018, the Trump period, the policies are different. So they literally say in the news, how dare you compare Trump to Biden? Biden's policies are different. Yeah, the way we're treating Latino kids is probably exactly the same, but the policies are different, folks. Okay. Both articles didn't mention Alexandria Ocasio, AOC, who actually blew up the whole Trump kids in cages on the border thing. And what she said, it was children living in concentration camp conditions, not just that they were separated by their parent. Both of the articles saying it is ridiculous to say this don't mention her at all. Let's go to comments real quick. Hey, weaponized news, recall Newsom. We already did a show on that because the MSM are hacks. I'm not sure what that means. Private chat. Oh, nice. Here we go. Here's an article. All right, we're going to go. This is from a Calexit Congress member who just posted this to chat. Let me show everybody this real quick. By the way, if you post to chat or you type in the comments window on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, we can see it and I can feed it directly into the video. Or if you're here in the Congress, you can post directly to chat. Let me add. Okay, so this is the article. Sorry. This is the article they're talking about. Al Jazeera. Used to allow migrants from Mexico as critics slam kids in cages. Biden administration claims reopening controversial Texas facility is not the same as putting kids in cages. Okay, thank you very much. Now, here's something I want to show everybody real quick. I think you're going to like this. Well, let's take a look at that. So here's the Obama administration, as you can see right here. This photo was taken during the Obama administration. That is kids in a cyclone fence in a small area, confined, breathing on top of each other on a mat without even a blanket. So remember, Donald Trump was criticized.
Marcus, the screen is just still showing your screen.
Oh. Okay. Let me stop screen sharing. Thank you. Let's try that one more time. See if I can do this. Share screen. Application window, StreamYard, share. Okay. Can it show? Are you able to see what I see now? Can you see a picture of Obama, Trump, Biden?
No, unless it's just my
Nope.
computer.
Okay. Well, that is interesting. Can you all see my email page?
No.
No,
Yeah.
it's just showing your StreamYard.
Okay. Technical difficulties. I had funny. That's interesting. I guess it won't show material on my computer. I had actually put together a nice package of photos, which I'm not allowed to share with you now, showing the photos from the Obama administration, the Trump administration, and the Biden administration. Give me 1 second to see if I can track those down, because this kind of is not good. Basically, all three photos have high concentration of people sleeping on a mat on a cement floor with a sheet blanket. So we were told that when Trump did that, that was wrong and bad. You cannot have people sleeping on the floor on a mat with only a metal blanket, with one TV to like 100 to 300 people, denying them access to their lawyers, denying them access to showers, and in high concentration where they'll spread coronavirus on each other. I'll try to track down a web link to show you, but literally the photos coming out of the facility opened by Joe Biden are exactly the same, except they put a plastic wall up instead of the cyclone fencing. So is it okay to keep the concentration camps as described by Ocasio-Cortez, large concentrations of children at 2 to 3 times capacity, spreading coronavirus on each other, in proximity to each other, one TV for all entertainment for 300 people, sleeping on a mat on the floor with only a foil sheet, and denied access to showers? Because that's what Joe Biden is doing now. Is that okay? Or is that totally different than what Trump did, because he didn't technically separate those kids from their parents, and now they have plastic sheets instead of cyclone fencing? Or is concentrating humans in over-concentrated facilities where they sleep on the floor too close to a concentration camp as described by AOC? This is the time for the Congress to give their opinions. Let's check out some comments. I cannot see others' chat comments either. Well, D. Schlack, we just posted you. So if you comment on YouTube or anything, we can post your comments. And for Calexit Congress members, if you are here, you can post your comments directly into chat, and we will post that. Again, Congress members, type in chat, and we will post your comment. YouTube viewers, Facebook viewers, Twitch, Steemit, other application windows, type in the comments. It feeds directly into the show, and we can show that. But this is the question. Is it okay that we have kids in cages, basically? They just tore down the cyclone fencing and put up plastic fencing. Does that make it totally different? Or is it still too damn close? Comments? Okay. Let's go here. Well, here's a comment from Weaponized News. It's good when the Dems do it, and it's bad when Trump does it. You know, I'm not a big conservative, but I got to say these things appear too similar. Comments from anybody in the group? Let me see if I can track down one of the photos, and I can show you. Any comments from anyone in Congress about this issue? Is this fair? Is this not fair?
No, it's not fair. This is completely wrong. We keep talking about this. We need to go on ahead and pass a resolution. These kids, it doesn't matter if they have a plastic sheet or a cyclone fence. This is not right. This is a direct violation of human rights, and we need to do something about this. And I know everybody's been talking about this for over a year at this point, but sorry, you guys, my husband's sick, so he can't watch my son right now. But yeah, no, this is unacceptable. And this goes past what I said last week about if you're a reasonable, logical human being, like just giving these kids plastic is not going to do anything. So, yeah, I'm pissed.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you. Thank you. True Californian. I found some of those photos. Let's take a look real quick. I completely occur with Christine. She sounds like a Californian to me. Love working with her. Okay. So can everybody see this picture here? It should appear as a maybe 40, 50 people housed in concentration.
Yep.
You can see one TV for them. Is everybody able to see that? Okay, I'm going to assume people can see that. So you can see a lot of people here. Here's the plastic sheets. Here's the floor. Here's the mat on the floor. Concentrated people spreading COVID. One TV. Here's the next facility. A lot of them are kids. Maybe their parents aren't there. Here's that journalist going, why can't I visit the facility to see what's going on? Oh, because you'll spread COVID. But we're not worried about these people getting COVID, but we are worried about this person getting COVID. Huh, interesting. Here's another facility, picture from inside. So the plastic sheeting's up, cyclone fencing is down. That seems to be the big difference. High concentration. One person wearing a mask, the rest aren't. Here's another picture from inside. That's floor, mat, foil. That's what they criticize Trump for doing. So the big difference is these kids were not forcibly separated from the parents and they have plastic sheeting, but it's still floor and a mat and they didn't get showers. And that is literally what they criticized Donald Trump for doing. So just wanted to share that with everybody. So I'm hearing, oh, there's a couple comments. Let's get to those comments. D Shack. Hey, D, love having you here. Please keep commenting. Weaponized News agrees. Yep. Yep. We're not going to post that. Sorry. Ignore that. COVID is real, although people are allowed to have their opinions. Let's go to chat. Okay. Here's a comment from Jason Wright. Let me go to this and post it up. And here we go. This is totally not okay with me. The policy of putting kids in cages, no matter what they call it. I agree to our proposed resolution and would push for the issues committee to move for action. So that's Jason Wright, Calexit Congress member, backing up Christine Howard-Ishmawi, Calexit Congress member. Is anyone opposed to us? I mean, we already issued a resolution on this, but we can continue to pound on this issue. Let's see. We got some more comments coming in.
Could I say something real quick then, Marcus?
Yeah, Jason, please.
If the resolution has passed, then let's no longer debate the resolution, and can we get Congress to vote on whether or not the domestic/international issues committee can maybe find a way to formulate some sort of proposal for legislative change that we could make into, say, an initiative or something that would at least ban any sort of actions like that from happening in California? Something like that?
Yes, let me ask Congress. How do y'all feel? Is anybody opposed? Say that one more time, Christine.
I second Jason's suggestion.
Okay. Anybody opposed to that? Okay, then we're going to move forward with that. Jason Wright likes the idea. Christine Howard-Ishmawi likes the idea. We'll move forward. No one's opposed. So the committee for the Joint Domestic and International Issues Committee, headed by Robert Stark and Jason Wright, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. will look into additional resolutions about this. Okay, well, we are doing great on time. We're about 2 minutes away from the end of the main Congress session and going into where Congress votes. Is there any last minute comments by Calexit Congress members?
I'd like to say, as the head or the chair of the International Outreach Committee, tonight at 7 o'clock Pacific time, 7 p.m. tonight, we are meeting, and we will be meeting here on StreamYard or over on
Yes,
Market?
we'll be meeting here on StreamYard.
Okay, we will be meeting here on StreamYard at 7. So if you'd like to join in the discussion about formulating these cultural embassies that we do, please, oh please, be there, or here rather, in about 7 hours, really. Also, speaking of international stuff and outreach, I'd like to give a shout out, a special birthday shout out to our friend and fellow Calexit Congress folk, Mr. Louis Marinelli, who turned 35 today.
Wow.
Happy birthday, Louis.
Happy birthday, Louis, brother. Wow, 35. Damn. That's awesome. I'm 44, so I'm all jealous of y'all. Wow. Okay, there's some comments. Let's go to here. Concerning how to contact. Oh, yeah. D. Schlack says the people need information concerning how to contact their elected officials to have a say about what they want to go to stop all the craziness. Totally agree. When we get a resolution together, we will provide some information on how the public can provide that to the comments. Just want to say hi to everybody. Thanks everybody for joining in the comments. And everybody appreciate it. And okay, so let's go to, let me undo that. Okay. We're going to go to the next segment in 30 seconds. Hold on, and we'll get started with the Calexit Congress and voting. All right, we're back, and this is the actual formal Congress session. So we normally start at 11 to 11:10 is the agenda, the monologue. Why are we here? 11:10 to 12 is when we do our main discussions, resolutions, open comments. Calexit Congress really gets into talking about the issues of the day. And then at 12 to 12:30, we do the actual Congress votes. 12:30 to 1 is when the public can comment here on StreamYard directly to Congress, although Congress is not required to be here. We ask people to only attend from 11 to 12:30. Let's take a look at those comments real quick, see if we've got some more. D. Schlack says, please make a list and put a link in for each state contact email and phone numbers. D, that's a good idea. We'll do that. When we get the resolutions together, we already have D and some other people who are Californians, not part of the Calexit Congress, but participating in the conversation we're having, saying, hey, I'd like to help promote some of those resolutions. Give me some help. I will do that. Yeah, and D, thank you. I'm not religious, but I appreciate it, brother, and love you as a Californian. And please tell other people to join, subscribe to the YesCalifornia channel, or consider joining the Calexit Congress here at calexitcongress.com or YesCalifornia.org. We're always looking for more intelligent thinking people from California, or a few Americans who love California. Let's go to private chat. Oh, here we got another one. 1 second. So just want to wrap this up. So speaking about the kids in cages, John, another Calexit Congress member, had this to say: "It's not okay with me either. Not all right." And let's move on those resolutions. Thank you, John. Any Calexit Congress member types into the chat, we will post it. And if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Steam it, we will also post those comments in, type in the chat, and you will be shown here on the video. So again, Calexit Congress members to chat, we'll post your comments. YouTube comments, comment, and we will post your comments on the Facebook, Twitter, Steam it, and other YouTube accounts that we have. Okay, now getting to the issues of Congress today, we're going to talk about some promotional projects. Number one is that Yes California reached an agreement with Liberty Block and Elliot Axelman to jointly publish a book to scare liberals into supporting independence. So we talked about this last Sunday or 2 Sundays ago, and the Congress at least approved us moving forward. I'm pleased to respond that we have an outline for the book. Elliot's already written about 1/3 of it, and we project the book to be up and published within 2 to 3 weeks. So the Calexit Congress will be able to publish a book on Amazon with our logo on, if you're a progressive in California, why should you support secession? It's going to be an argument for them on why this is a good idea for California progressives. Now, Liberty Block is a conservative organization. And the reason that Yes California wanted to work with them to publish it is that we didn't want to damage our partnership with conservatives. Californians have different values than conservatives across America, and that's great. But we still want to work with conservatives in order to legally secede. So we had to walk a delicate line of saying we're writing a book for Californians on why we need to secede, which is you're in this country with all these conservatives, but we didn't want to alienate those same conservatives because we want them to know that while we think differently and we don't exactly want to be in the same country with you, we'll work with you because Yes California is committed to legal, peaceful independence. And so I'm pleased to announce I worked out that deal with Elliot Axelman, Liberty Block. It will be posted. The book's going to come out on Amazon. Liberty Block did agree to publish it. It will have the Yes California logo on it. I personally designed the outline and sent it over to Elliot, and it is about terrifying liberals, to letting them know that Calexit's their only option. Let me take a comment here. We have some comments coming in. Hey, Iman, what's going on? Yes, California and D, awesome. Love seeing you. Okay, let's get back to banner. So let me cover some of the things that's in that outline real quick. I can't show you the... Okay, well, I'll come back to that in a second. I'll get the agenda. Any comments or feelings about, Jason says also hashtag Yes California. Oh yes, hashtag Yes California too. Any comments or feelings from the Congress about a book designed for liberals in California on, you better secede now because even if Biden won, it's not going to be okay. Basically, the premise is this is something we've talked about routinely in these circles, is the Constitution of America allows about 40, 45 small rural conservative red states to have a lot of power. There's a lot of evidence of conservatives jockeying and redistricting and limiting votes, or at least that's how Californians perceive it. When you add those two together, the narrative is, and this has been suggested by Nate Silver of 538, The Nation magazine, and Professor Taplin at the University of Southern California. The Republicans will steal elections, change the laws, disenfranchise minorities, get in power again, and then stack the court and block laws and block legislation or take away California rights. And a lot of Californians already think that. A lot of big progressives have already said that. So Yes California, a California Values, mostly progressive organization with a couple conservatives, is going to work with Elliot Axelman publish a book to make those points that, hey, the Constitution still allows all these Trump-loving states to do what they want. They'll rig an election. They'll get back in power just like they did with Trump. And when they do, they're going to take away all your rights and come for you, California. We think it'll be a good idea because there's 1 million of these books for conservatives, and there's none for liberals. So there's no book for liberals on why you should secede. The Kreitner book was aimed at liberals, but it said liberals in the past have backed secession. It never said why you should support it now. It just said, hey, it's unfair to say only red states back secession. Here's some liberals that did it. This will be the first book ever for liberals on why you have to get out, taking the same stance that conservative books do. So, any comments from Congress? We expect to have some progress in about 3 weeks on that.
Yeah, I call it the need to secede. It's not just a want, right? Like there are plenty of things that I want, but secession is something that California actually needs. We're going to decay and mostly die off if we don't. So I think the book is a great idea.
Okay. Any other comments from anyone else? Okay. Then we'll move on to part 2. So that sounds good. We'll be moving forward with that book. It'll be a book to promote independence. It'll highlight this Calexit Congress. By the way, the Calexit Congress already produced the best podcast on secession called California Dreaming, right here from one of our Congress members. We've also launched our StreamYard channel, which is going very well, raising our professional appearance. And we also got 100,000 subscribers to watch this show live, or at least be streamed to them, or at least worked out agreements with people to do that. And we're in line to maybe get 120,000 in a few weeks. But there's even more coming up. So recently, the Secession Museum, as I call it, opened up. So it's called the Free Republic of California. And let me find that real quick. Free Republic of California. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. I'm going to do a share screen so everybody can take a look. Oh, we got a comment real quick. Yes, I've done a lot of research on California, and I know that the culture and history of California people is much richer than anywhere else in the United States. Well, I don't want to say we're better than the rest of the United States. We have some Americans here, and I love them. And New York has better bagels than us in Italian food. So it's not all perfect out here. But we're pretty good on a lot of things. Thank you. Okay, let's do a share screen.
Oh man, you need to hit House of Bagels next time you come up here to visit me then.
Okay. All right. Now, I have been told from a very reliable source that while California is awesome, we're a little bit crazy from other liberals in New York, and we cannot have proper bagels because we don't have New York City tap H2O. We got to get that New York City water, ship it over here, and then we can have New York quality bagels, which I'm supportive of. I want to make sure to point that out. Okay, let's do a share screen. And the event is called the Free Republic of California. It is a museum exhibit. It's in El Segundo, Los Angeles. Here's the website. It's by Cole Sternberg. Mr. Sternberg is a Californian. He was born and raised in the Bay Area near Gavin Newsom. He married a 1% socialite person who had their wedding featured in Esquire magazine. This is a little bit of the example of the exhibit he made. He also has a lot of resolutions, pseudo-legal documents from the UN recognizing an independent California, and then a lot of artwork. then poems about how I want a separate country, more artwork, more pseudo-legal documents about the UN recognizing California. Here's a map showing an independent California. Here's a document declaring secession with people signing it to leave, much like the petitions we have. Here's a flag he made of a future independent Republic of California and some additional artwork. And what I liked about this is that this guy has no contacts with us or the movement at all. So this exhibit was going to come out 2 months before the election, and then coronavirus hit, and we just couldn't go. You know, we were blocked. So Free Republic is a conceptual art piece by Cole Sternberg. It's the dream of a more enlightened nation. So this guy is from California. 2 months before the election, when we thought Trump may win, before coronavirus, they released this exhibit. And it was all about dreaming of California as an independent country. I was able to go there this week and do a tour of the event. I will post this link up in the chat. I wanted to point out that the very first thing they do is recognize the indigenous people of California and how important they are. Let's see if this will work. Here's an example of the first part of the exhibit, artwork. Then he has these gigantic billboards he has a lot of gear, and then he has these billboards talking about the Free Republic of California. There's that. The scale of these things is huge. They're like 30, 40 feet big when you get in there. Here we are going into the second part. This is all artwork. I already showed you some of this on the website. It's a series of paintings and then pseudo-legal documents. So you see a couple pieces of art to inspire you, and then there's this document like as if California was already a separate country. So he's got that all the way around. I'll skip ahead. Let's see. Here's the third room. Mostly just conceptual art week, so it's 3 rooms. And then here you go. 1 second, let me just show you this. So what you can see is it's an exhibit to California as a nation by a very famous California artist whose wife is well connected in California circles and who grew up in an area where Gavin Newsom lived. Coincidence? Maybe. Now, Biden won and Trump lost, but this exhibit got started when nobody knew that. And then it lost the steam because of coronavirus. But it's by a professional artist who spent 2 years dedicated to inspiring Californians to think about California becoming independent from America. He's never been part of the movement. I've never met him, never heard of him, but he spent, I don't know, I think that museum, $300,000 or something to build this over 2 years, and he got a local LA museum to put it up. And it's available for viewership right now. I have this copy of the California Constitution that you can get if you go to the museum exhibit. We also have this great poster, which I can give out to someone, and it's a very lovely poster. So I was able to wow them so much with the speech that I'm giving there at the end that you saw, that it's very likely that Yes California or the president of the Calexit Congress will be in the official commercial for that museum. I was asked to stop and do 3 separate videos for the people running the museum and talking about how Trump almost won and how great exhibit it is. So when that museum actually starts promoting itself, it's getting going. I went the first day it opened. I expect the next 2 to 3 days, maybe a week, this Calexit Congress is going to be as part of the commercial for the official Secession Museum. Now, I kept saying, my name is Marcus Ruiz Evans, and yes, California, I like you all. So I didn't say I'm with Yes, California, but I kept using that phrase. So we have a book coming out. We have a podcast that's the most professional ever. We have a Secession Museum unlinked to us promoting our same concept better than we could. We are probably going to be in the commercial for the actual Secession Museum, raising our profile. And that's not all. Let's get right to private chats. Audio not coming through. Oh, I guess the audio on the video didn't come through. Let me post in chat right now. I'm posting to private chat the link to the video for everybody. I will also post this in a banner. Oops, can't do that. 1 second. That is the YouTube link, if you can type it in. It's also available to all the Calexit Congress members. Okay, final publicity project I'd like everybody to know about. Here we go. This is called a non-fungible token. Non-fungible token is a unit of data on a digital ledger or blockchain where it can represent a unique item. So what's happening is people are making artwork, like this image here. And they're making it basically a blockchain data bit. So you normally have your Bitcoin, which is created with blockchain technology. This is a little bit different. It's artwork, and it's basically it can be used to promote people. So I just got off the phone with Dewank Mahajan, who's a data programmer, data scientist out of India. He has agreed to take on this project. He already held a meeting with a programmer out of Vietnam, and I spoke with him today, and we will be able to design a Yes California logo artwork, non-fungible token for blockchain users. So only a few people have done this. We'll be able to have the YesCA logo. It will appear on a paper background as a coin, and it'll be something that blockchain users can use and trade and buy. So there might be the chance to raise funds. It'll additionally show us as a group that's trying to do new things to get publicity. So think about this. We just did the recall debate. We were the only ones who did that. We just launched a podcast. It's the best podcast, most professional ever of any Calexit group to date. It was done by Darren. He's a professor out of the Bay Area. Loved being on it. First interview. We're going to have a book by a company who's already published and well-connected in conservative circles, and is going to help us publish this book aimed at liberals to secede. We're also going to be in the commercial for the actual Secession Museum. There is an actual Secession Museum. We've only been doing StreamYard for 2 weeks, and we're already up to 120,000 people watching this. And we're going to have a non-fungible token of Yes California coming out in about 3 weeks. So those are the publicity projects on the hopper, as my pops used to say. Any comments from anybody about those publicity projects, good, bad, you are welcome to criticize. We don't say, hey, I hate that idea, don't do it. But please be critical. If we're missing something, there's a hiccup, a bad part of it, please call us out. This isn't a yes group. Any comments from anyone in Congress? Okay. Then we'll move on to our last section.
I'd like to say something, if I may.
Yes, please. Nicholas Wildstar.
All right. Well, the museum, you guys, that's definitely big news, because like Marcus said, the museum was done by somebody that's completely not connected to the movement, that has invested a lot of money into promoting the cause and need for California independence. I think it would be best for California, Yes California, to use that as an opportunity to gain more attention, bring more awareness to the movement, as well as hopefully gain new members by doing so. But just putting the idea in people's heads definitely just creates a greater possibility for it to happen within the next 10, 20 years, which is what we're looking for, to make this happen as soon as possible. The only thing that it's going to take is a matter of numbers. If we can get more people on to back the idea, to support it, to put pressure on elected officials to make this a reality, at least in some way, shape, or form, even if it's in the smallest sense to where we're having our own currency here in the state and are able to create some economic independence from the federal government, that would be a great step in that direction towards California independence. So I've done my best to use my social media platform to promote the museum. I will continue to do so. Encouraging everybody else to do the same, as well as when this NFT becomes a reality, because NFTs are very popular right now and are getting a lot of mainstream attention. So California is definitely, yes, California is definitely ahead of the curve on this. So I just applaud all of you for being a part of this. And I'm very happy and excited to be, involved in this myself. So.
Okay, well, since you said that, I'm going to have to say something. Nicholas Wildstar is the only registered political candidate to publicly endorse Calexit. Nicholas Wildstar is the only publicly registered candidate in California to actually endorse Calexit or say it's possible. So if you're looking for someone to vote, and we want politicians talking about, he's the only guy in town. Remember that. Secondly, we're on StreamYard because Nicholas Wildstar. I am not a techie, folks. I am not. All right. All of this was Nick pestering me and saying, dude, you got to do this. And I was like, I don't know. Boy, was he right. So, Nick, thank you for getting us set up on StreamYard. Wouldn't have done it without you. Thank you for being somebody who will go out and meet the public. I mean, we have 200 people signing a Calexit petition, photos, after Biden was elected, because Nick went out and met him in the public. And he was able to get liberals and conservatives to say, let's look into Calexit after Biden was elected. And he's the only candidate running for Calexit. So Nick is one of the best members of the Calexit Congress. He is running for governor right now. He did not vote for Trump. He does not like Trump, but he is a conservative. Check out Nick Wildstar, or Wildstar 2020 for governor.
2022. Wildstar.
2022.
Yes, and thank you very much for that plug. I do appreciate it, and I will continue speaking out about the Yes California movement. I've done several debates recently, actually the Yes California debate, as well as a recent debate that was hosted by another candidate where more conservative candidates were in attendance. So every time I get on stage, anytime I get in front of a microphone, just know that I will be speaking about California independence and bringing more attention to the Yes California movement.
It's been nothing short of life-changing working with you. That also brings up another promotional project. Jason Wright brought this up, and Nicholas Wildstar brought this up. I think Sam Chaney may have brought this up, and maybe Rabbi Stephen Axelman. I'm not sure. Sorry, guys. It's a stream of consciousness. I'm talking to people. But a second recall debate. The first one was very successful. A lot of people saw it. A lot of people said we did a balanced job and we looked good. We didn't take sides. We walked it through fair. And it raised our profile. If we can get one new candidate, Yes California is willing to host a second debate. We don't want to have a second debate with all the same people. It might be questioned like, didn't you already do this? But if we get one or two new candidates, we can have a second debate. So I will leave that to anyone in the Congress. I've already talked to a couple of you about this who said, let's do it again. Yes, We need a second candidate. We can host a second recall debate. And it might even be bigger than the first because we already have a reputation from the first one. So if anyone can help find a recall candidate, we can have another debate and it can be big. And we were also invited to Pork Fest. And Rabbi Stephen Axelin's working on that. And we are glad to be able to go to that. And we'll also raise our profile. Any other comments by anyone in Congress? If you're here in Congress, or if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, this is your chance to comment. It's your voice, your word. Calexit Congress, you set the agenda. Any comments from anyone?
A second debate would be great. I did speak with Daniel McCurry, another candidate that hosted the debate last week. There were several other candidates that were in attendance that were not in the Yes California governor's debate. So if we can get them to attend the next one, it should definitely be more candidates. Maybe I would say 6 or even 8 that would be in that debate. But my suggestion to Marcus was pretty much to wait until after the recall election is declared. The reason why I say that is because it's going to get even more attention once it is officially on. Because right now the votes are still being tallied and counted, and so it's still just speculative. But once it's been declared by the lieutenant governor, we have a date for the recall election, then now it's going to be all eyes on California. And the previous debate will get more attention, but the next one will definitely be catapulted to the forefront since we've again been ahead of the curve on this. So if we can start, I guess, putting together the structure of that debate now, how it would look if you guys want to use StreamYard again, the candidates to be involved, just put together a contact list for all of them and get everything prepared. That way, when the day comes that it is, announced that we're going to be having this recall election, we can just get things going. But you can count me in.
Awesome. We did ask the other people who participated in the debate, and they said they would come back too. So we can get all the candidates back. We just need a new candidate. Yeshua says the more debates we can see, the better. The earlier, the better. The more, the better. And this is the great thing. We can debate this. This is the Congress where we debate the best strategy. Perhaps having it right now isn't the best idea. Perhaps waiting's the best idea.
Could I weigh in on this?
Yes, please. If you're Congress, weigh in. How do you feel about a second recall debate? When should it happen? How should it happen? What do we need to do? We got a couple of different ideas. What do you think? Jason?
Well, I agree with Yeshua right there. The more debates that we can have, the more time spent on talking in detail, because the average run-of-the-mill corporate autocrat politician can say certain taglines and throwing keywords that'll wow people into thinking they have some grand plan for things. I know who I'm going to vote for, and that's because I've heard an actual plan. Right now, if we only have one debate and it's only an hour, and there's like 5 or 6 people debating, then we may only really hear a quick summary of everyone's plan on like 1 or 2 issues. So my thought is, why not have a series of debates? Not just another debate, a second debate, right? Not have a debate, have a series of debates.
Thoughts,
And,
feelings,
you know,
everybody.
with the recall process and all of that, like however long we have in between it becoming official, you know, how candidate Wildstar was saying, however much time we have between then and when we actually go to the polls to vote, I think that we should be hosting as many individual debate sessions as we possibly can, cover every single issue that Californians feel is an issue, and really hear whether or not each candidate has actually thought about stuff. Like, you know, I watched the last debate that candidate Wildstar was in, and there was one person in particular who made it, and I give him credit for being very clear and very honest. He only had one issue and one plan for one issue, and that was all he was running on. Which, you know, again, credit to him for being clear and honest. Most politicians are not, even when they fit that bill. You know, one issue and, you know, one plan for an issue, and that's it. So we can really present like each candidate in their fullness. If they are the best candidate, they will be looking like the best candidate. If they are the worst candidate for California, they will appear as such. And not because of any personal bias, just because what we do is provide the platform and the time, the place, you know, the non-commercialized, you know, one hour of debate means 1 hour of debate, not, you know, 10 minutes of debate chopped up with, like, you know, countless commercials. But when we provide that platform, the candidates can be the candidates, and may the best one win, right? Whoever's best for California. As long as we can make sure that there is a platform that is widely reaching and widely acceptable, right? We could make sure that, like, I don't know, CNN or whoever, you know, some big, you know, big media corporation that usually hosts all sorts of debates, right? Pardon the car alarm there. If we do things in a way where people accept it as valid and legitimate just as much, if not more so, than they do with ones like CNN, then the people will tune in. When the majority of people tune in and the candidates have the ability to just be the best selves that they can be, that gives the people a very clear option, right? Like, okay, well, what's your issue? Which candidate do you identify with, right? It gives you all the information as a voter that you're gonna need to make the best possible decision as a Californian that you can, without it being just someone who's paid a ton of money to, you know, be on a debate.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah.
May I answer that? Jason is absolutely correct. What I found out in my last gubernatorial campaign in 2018 was you're not invited into the major debates unless you've fundraised over $100,000. at least. And the majority of candidates that are going to be on the ballot are not going to be on that stage because they're not going to be able to fundraise that amount of money. Me being one of them, you know. Does that mean I should be excluded from being heard by the people of California? No, of course not. But the major publications, mainstream media outlets, they control that that platform. So whether it's TV or print media or whatever the case may be, they have control over that. How can Yes California penetrate through that to connect with the average voter? It's this right here, this this outreach, because we're showing that we are not inspired by money, we are not inspired by fame. Our motivation for doing this is simply by making sure that the people of California have an opportunity to hear from all of the candidates that's running for office equally. So Jason is absolutely right in saying that. With regards to the deadline, the Secretary of State right now is counting the votes. They have 30 days. So between March 17th, when the deadline was, and April 17th, they have to count all of the 2.1 million plus signatures to find out how many of those are eligible. After it's been discovered how many of those have met the threshold of 1.5 million, then it's given to the lieutenant governor to basically schedule that special election before the end of the year. So it's already been projected that that could possibly be as late as November, which will upset the people of California because they want that recall now. So there's going to be a lot of pressure on the lieutenant governor and state officials to make that recall election happen as soon as possible. Like I said, the more opportunities Yes California has to step up to the plate and present the candidates to the public, the better it's going to be for the people of California, as well as adding to the legitimacy and professionalism of Yes California to be taking these issues seriously. And that's what we want by more people, is to let them know that we are the official organization of We the People of California.
That nice. So Nick, when will they know if the recall debate even qualifies? I understand then they have to schedule a vote, but when are they going to know? Yeah, it qualified. We know that's
by April 17th. So we'll know for certain before April 17th. You guys may want to mark your calendars, watch, news outlets, etc. Right now, it's already been confirmed that there's over 1.1 million signatures that are valid. So we only need an extra 400,000 or so, and not even, before that recall is confirmed. So April 17th will be the last date for that.
So watch for April 17th. Okay, we got some comments. Denise says, great job as always. Denise, thank you so much. And Reza, Yeshua, Weaponized News, Ahmad, D, thank you all for coming out and commenting. And if you are a member of the public, you can comment on any platform, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, or wherever you're seeing the stream live to 100,000 people. You can comment and we will bring it right into the video. All right, here we got another comment. Plump Gate. End Plump Gate now. I'm not sure what that means. What do people think about what Nicholas Wildstar said? Hey, we'll know if the recall debate is, we'll know if the recall for sure is going to happen by April 17th. That's about 2 to 3 weeks away. And after we do know, having a series of debates, I think Jason Wright and Nicholas Wildstar, 2 different Calexit Congress members, are concurring, would be a good thing to do. Is that a fair summary? And what do people think about that? Okay, is anybody opposed to April 17th comes around, the recall is definitely going to happen, and we start announcing a series of recall candidate debates. So any opposed to that idea?
I think we need to set April 17th, is it, as the ultimate must be ready by no later than date. Like, we need to start now with getting it all together so that if it's not April 17th, but maybe the 12th or the 14th, right? Because they have up until then to get the signatures counted. So they could finish at any time between now and then. So I think that's our ultimate point of no return date, if you agree.
Nick, how do you feel about that?
He's right. My bad. I got my son.
Oh, it's all good. Hey, same thing I tell Christine. This is the new normal. Okay, this is how it is, and I love families.
But yes, Jason is right. Anytime between now and April 17th, it can be declared, in which case, after that, it's given straight to the lieutenant governor, who then has to calendar that recall election immediately. I think lawfully they're only given 90 days. So that's why the Democrats are in control, man. They may push it out until April 17th, and then the lieutenant governor can wait until May 17th until, she declares the special election, and she could calendar that for the full 90 days, in which case, like I said, we're looking at possibly, September, October, November. Earlier, the better, of course, but as long as Yes California is prepared to go with scheduled debates, then we'll be able to attract candidates to that debate, as well as bring more attention to the recall as well. So I would suggest maybe looking at sometime in June for that next debate, or maybe even July. Hey, maybe even Memorial Day weekend. If we can do that Saturday or something, then that would be cool.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is we should be ready to launch a debate just in case by April 17th. Let's get our talking points together, see who wants to come, the questions they want to have, just in case on April 17th they qualify it. Then we're ready to go like immediately. And however, the actual election may not be announced all the way up to November, which would probably upset a lot of people. I think that's what you're saying, Nick?
Yes, sir.
All right. Is anyone opposed to, if you'd like to work on the second recall debate, contact me, marcus.ruiz.evans. And anybody who wants to be interested, we'll go ahead and start prepping that for April 17th so that if the recall is approved, we're ready to go with the second debate, being fair to all the candidates. Anyone opposed to that idea? Okay, then that means we have a couple different promotional projects now approved. Secession Museum ad featuring Yes California. Podcast has already been started. A book to be published telling liberals to back secession. Yes California logo on Bitcoin, and a second recall debate or series of debates will be some of the promotional projects approved by Congress coming out. All right. Any other comments on promotional projects from anyone? Okay, then we are going to go to the last minute. Yeah.
The cultural embassy video, the cultural outreach committee meeting video got lots of views, and I guess it was more than usual. Part of me is wondering if it had something to do with the fact that we were kind of creating a wish list of potential nations that we would like to reach out to their people and see if there's a organization that will counterpart with us and, you know, do one of these cultural embassies. I would like a second to ask anyone for their input on the wish list. Like if there's also if yes, your motorcycle's loud. Thank you. If someone didn't watch the video, I can just name these out real quick. Scotland, Catalonia, New Caledonia, Lakota and Navajo indigenous nations, as well as pretty much every single indigenous nation. Finland, Armenia, France, Germany, Mexico, and of course, Baja. Are there any nations, any people that Congress would like the International Outreach Committee to consider?
Does anybody have any contacts with any foreign countries? Jason's very enthusiastic about reaching out to others, which is great because we've gotten a lot of way with Scotland just reaching out to them. But if you have any contacts, Jason, I would add Bougainville, Bougainville. I know a leader of the
I'm sorry. Can you spell that one more time for me, please?
B-O-U-G, Boug, B-O-U-G, gain, as in getting something, G-A-I-N, so B-O-U-G, G-A-I-N, Boug, gain, Ville, V-I-L-L-E. Let me let me see here. 1 second, I'll type it in. Oops, why does it do that? Why is it? Bougainville. I misspelled that. Okay, that's basically it. It's a B-O-U-G-A-I-N Ville. I'll send you the info. It's an island in the Pacific. They're looking for independence, and I have a contact with named Reka Havini. So that might be a future independent nation that might be willing to host a Yes California embassy, or come and speak at one of our congresses. I'll get you some more info.
Nice, thank you.
Yeah.
And so to the rest of Congress, if you don't have any input for it now, you can always reach out to me on the Congress website. I'm one of the moderators there, so my mod at Calexit Congress should be posted up on the site for you. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me. Just let me know.
Okay, it's fine. Oh, you got a comment? Yeshuan says, I have contacts in Nigeria, Uganda, Kenya, and Pakistan. None of the government, though, orphanages and ministry people. Well, the way that we do cultural embassies is not with the government of that country. It's typically with a nonprofit or a civil rights group in that country that has some sort of respectability and standing. So it's not with the official government because they're not official embassies. They're more of a publicity project, a living art exhibit that we call cultural centers or friendship association centers. And so any nonprofits that you actually know in that country that are in good standing are exactly who we want to talk to. Please, Yeshua, I'll put you in contact with Jason. Those are good contacts. Okay, Jason. Last minute comments, brother?
No, that's it. I did take note there, Yeshua, about these nations, and yeah, thank you for pointing that out, Marcus. That hey, orphanages and ministry people, that's perfect. That is exactly what we want. So yeah, feel free to join in tonight at 7 Pacific, which is in about 6 hours from now, in case you're international. Yeah, feel free to come back here in about 6 hours, and we'll actually be meeting with the International Outreach Committee discussing this further. So thank you very much, Yeshua.
Okay, great. Let me, well, we've eaten up our public comment section. That's fine. We have Christine and Jason here. Is there any committee updates anybody wants to do? You don't have to, but if you have any committee updates, now's the time you can say something. It's all good, if you want.
For Professional Culture Committee and the Rules Committee, we had to postpone the meeting last week till tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific time. So no updates here, but we will be meeting again tomorrow.
All right. Jason, anything you want to say, brother?
Let's see. Is Robert Stark here today,
No.
right now?
He is not.
Okay. I was not able to attend the issues committee meeting, but I did watch the video and left my comment. There was something about internet security, privacy, and I guess, for lack of a better term, over moderation, excessive moderation, maybe. You know, stuff like that. We wanted to know if this was a big enough issue for our fellow Californians to mandate us pursuing some sort of resolution and then, you know, action. So if anyone could weigh in on all that, you know.
So the concept is Robert Stark promoted in his committee meeting for domestic or international, one of those two. It's a joint committee now with Jason and Robert as co-equal heads. Robert Stark said, hey, there's a lot of social media censorship. Let's have a resolution on that. And we ended with saying that was worth looking into. I'm not sure what stance to take or the information regarding it. But does anybody have initial feelings about that they'd like to share? Social media censorship. Any stance you'd like to take, and we'll feed it back to Robert Stark on the Joint Domestic and International Relations Committee. Good comments. Got a comment. Okay, I'm going to say nobody really has any stance on that. We'll table that until Robert Stark is able to develop the idea more in the committee. Then we can bring back a professional resolution here, or Robert can come to a meeting and present it. Thanks for bringing it up, Jason. Any other committee issues you want to cover, Jason? Don't have to. Anything else?
I guess it's worth pointing out, in case everyone didn't already see it, our ambassador to the people of Russia just very, very recently attended an international conference, discussing the situation of the Yemeni people, and basically, because we support human rights and people being able to live in peace and freedom and equality and have, true representation, all the good stuff. Because of that, we, have an official stance on basically our support for the people of Yemen and their right to live in peace. And now I would encourage everyone to go and follow up with that. There's an official Yes California post about it. I'm just kind of summarizing it, but it's actually kind of a big thing because it's another international conference that Yes California has been able to provide some sort of representation to.
We were going to try to get one of the Yemeni organizations to partner with Yes California on a resolution talking about the United States' continued support across at least 2 administrations, now 3, for looking the other way as the Yemeni people are butchered, with hospitals and schools blown up, with targeting assistance by the U.S., if not munitions provided by the U.S. But we have a little bit more that needs to happen before we can move on that. So we did go to that meeting. We're looking for some partners, and we're expecting to make more statements soon with some actual Yemeni groups. Further improving the recognition of Yes California actually getting out and meeting independence movements or sovereign governments around the world. So we had South Africa here, we had Baja here, and we're working on Bougainville, a couple other countries, and this may be another one, continuing to spread our reach. Okay, John says that he also supports looking into social media censorship as an idea. Yeshua also says that he likes the idea of looking into social media censorship. So that's 3 or 4 Congress members who said this at least needs to look into. I'm going to kick this back to the committees, have them develop more, and then bring it back. And we'll go from there. Okay. Then last bit of business for the Calexit Congress, and we will end 2 minutes behind. The Rules Committee recently
Rules.
One second. Yeah, I'm sorry. The Rules Committee recently looked at the idea of proposing a rule that we don't have other people speak about other Calexit organizations. I'm sorry. I'm having a little trouble. I'm sorry about that. Rules Committee proposed an idea saying, hey, we're all here for Yes California. Everybody's putting their time here for Yes California. In order to prevent drama or miscommunication, let's not bring up other Calexit organizations. Let's just, if you're here for Yes. Let's only talk about Yes. Good or bad, let's leave it here. Is anyone opposed to this rule that we're only going to talk about Yes California, we're not going to talk about other organizations, because that's not what everybody's working for. People are here for this. And also to prevent unnecessary drama. Is anyone opposed to that suggested rule?
Marcus, before we have the vote on this, would you mind reading the official statement that the Rules Committee did draft? Because it's a little bit more extensive than just no drama, don't talk about other groups.
Can you email that to me or post it in chat? I can take a look to try to find it.
Hold on 1 second. I will pull it up right now.
Okay.
Jason, do you have it easily found on your computer?
I'm on mobile, but I'll take a look real quick.
I'll
I'm
start.
sorry about this, you guys.
Let me see if I can find it. I'm sorry, just so many emails. It'll take me. It's gonna take me a minute.
No, it's fine. I have it pulled up.
Got it. You have it, Christine?
I do, yes.
Would you mind reading it, please?
Sure. To avoid drama at Congress meetings, all talk about other independent organizations within California will be prohibited. This is to negate any perceivable negative backlash on other media platforms. The exception to this is when an organization reaches out to work on a joint project or legitimate venture. These collaborations must be approved before being presented to Congress. Penalties for breaking the above rule: the first 2 infractions will be given verbal warnings. The 3rd infraction will result in muting for the rest of that Congress meeting.
Okay. Thoughts, feelings from anybody? Anyone opposed to this as a general idea? Okay, I'm not seeing anyone opposed. I'll wait another couple seconds. This is your chance to say, I can't live with that. That's the end of the world. Or does this seem kind of, common sense? Like, you're here for the Yes California stuff. Why are we mentioning others? I'm not seeing anyone opposed to Congress. I'm going to consider this issue resolved. This is now a new rule. Just, hey, I posted up the official wording in the private chat, and we will post this up to the forum. But from here on out, basically, please talk about yes. You can be critical about yes. You can say nice things. You can say not nice things. It's fine. But let's only keep the conversation about yes. It's done. We're past. Okay, that's about it. We're 5 minutes behind. Is there anything critical that anyone in Congress thinks that we've got to make sure to get on this show? This is your chance to see that. Okay, then I'm going to end the broadcast, but you don't have to leave. If you want to continue to talk, you can, but the video will be over, and I'm going to take us out now.